Hey folks, welcome back to another video with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today I'm kind of continuing this new series of top 5 games in whatever genre that I'm picking. And today I'd like to do my top 5 zombie games. Now, again, caveat as always, these are my favorite zombie games in that genre. So, you might disagree with me. Completely fine with that. No worries. Put your picks down in the comments section. But without further ado, I'd like to get into some honorable mentions that didn't quite make my list, but games that I still think are pretty cool. First of all, Bang the Dice game, The Walking Dead. Now, this one I'm including as an honorable mention simply because I like the system that it uses. I think the theme of a Western movie or a Western theme fits better with the mechanisms, but if you enjoy zombie games and you also enjoy Bang the Dice game, the mechanisms that are used there, I think you'll probably like this one. So I wanted to include it with my honorable mentions. That's Bang the Dice game, The Walking Dead. Also, wanted to include Mall of Horror. Mall of Horror is a game that one of the first games that introduced me to the whole zombie genre of games, and I really had a lot of fun with it. We would just get a kick out of trying to figure out who was going to be pushed out into the zombie horde and who was going to be able to stay inside the building and all that kind of stuff. So Mall of Horror, had a great time with that game back in the day. And then the game that introduced the zombie genre to me was Zombies. I remember playing this in Korea a long time ago and just having a blast playing this game, trying to get out of the city, avoiding the zombie crowds, having to fight through some of them, and just had a great time playing those little tiny zombie miniatures that came with the game. A great game. I think it's been surpassed by a lot of other better games at this point, but a lot of nostalgia is wrapped up in that game. So, on to my top 5. Now, starting out my top 5 is number 5, and that is Carnival Zombie. Now, this game has probably been hurt a lot by distribution because it just isn't widely available right now, and if you can get your hands on a copy, you're probably paying a lot of money for it. But with all of that aside, Carnival Zombie is a really fun game if you're just interested in we're in a city that is, and we're surrounded by zombies, and we need to get out, and we need to get to this certain place so that we can survive. And while we're trying to survive, we're going to take as many of them with us as possible. And it's just this total blast of a time of trying to figure out how you're going to get past this unrelenting wave after wave after wave of zombies. And it has probably too much, for my opinion, a little bit too much of the macabre sense to it, where some of those things look really nasty on the board. But the gameplay and the cooperative nature of the game is just totally awesome. Love playing Carnival Zombie. Maybe a smidge on the long side, but still a great time. My number 5, Carnival Zombie. My number 4 is a game that I've played for a few years now, and I really enjoyed it. It's a game, one of the few zombie games that I can get my wife to play, and I don't have a problem playing these with my kids either, because it's just a campy theme that has been applied to a pretty cool game system, and that is Last Night on Earth. Now, a lot of people have, well, I don't know if a lot, but some people that I've talked to have a problem with the whole real life pictures that are on the board, on the cards, and that kind of thing. And so I can kind of feel that. I guess I'd wish it were not that, but at the same time, Flying Frog Productions, I think, did a good job at producing those pictures and getting it to where it looked like a B-type movie. And that's what I liked about it. It captured that whole feeling. And all of the different scenarios that come with the game and the expansions that come out really capture that feeling of a B-type, campy zombie movie where you're trying to accomplish some kind of goal. I like the fact that some people can be the zombies, and then the other people are the survivors. So that's a game that I've really enjoyed over the past few years, and needed to mention it. Knew it was going to make my list, just didn't know where. My number 4, Last Night on Earth. Now, my number 3 is a game that I was actually introduced to by its designer, Richard Launius, and that is Run, Fight, or Die. And since I was introduced to it, my son Michael and I were at Dice Tower Con, and we got to play it with Richard Launius as he taught us. And ever since then, we've had this very fun time with Run, Fight, or Die, because first of all, I love dice games. I love chucking dice, and when you can use those dice and manipulate them, and they give you special powers, and kind of a faux Yahtzee kind of mechanic where you're able to roll your dice, but then you can take some of them and re-roll them, and all this kind of stuff, and it really does have a really neat mechanic to it, but at the same time, you are also trying to fend off this horde. You're just kind of almost like you're stuck in a corner and you can't move, but you can fight, and you can fight, and you can fight, and sometimes there's a window where you can actually get out of there and distance yourself from the zombies a little bit. And some of the things don't seem intuitive because, you know, zombies don't run away from you, but when you understand that you're actually distancing yourself from the zombies, it just, the mechanism is pushing them back, well, then it makes a little bit more sense. But a game that I have really enjoyed over the years, Run, Fight, or Die. My number 2 is a game that has just come out, and rarely does this happen, where a game comes out and then rockets to the top of a list, any list of mine. Usually I like to get more plays over a long period of time, but I don't see myself disliking this game anytime in the near future, and that is Zombicide Black Plague. Now, the original Zombicide, in my opinion, had some huge disappointing problems with it. Having to target a survivor with a ranged weapon first, that just kind of took the wind out of its sails for me. On top of that, Zombicide in its original incarnation came out when a lot of zombie games were coming out, and it just felt run-of-the-mill to me. Zombicide Black Plague, however, pulls together a lot of different elements. First of all, it fixed that friendly fire rule from the original game by providing armor and other kinds of workarounds. No longer do you have to target survivors when you use a ranged weapon. You only if you miss what you were aiming at do you have to target them, and that makes more thematic sense to me. On top of that, the dashboards that they're using now with Black Plague are amazingly cool. The miniatures, top notch. You can't really get much better than this, of course. Now that I said that, they probably will somehow. Somebody will. And so there's just so many things that I'm really, really enjoying about Zombicide Black Plague that I had to include it on my list. My number 2, Zombicide Black Plague. And then finally, my number 1. This is a game that I have been touting ever since it originally came out, and I have seriously enjoyed this game. It is a co-op game where zombies are kind of a backstage element to the game. The real element is the party of survivors and how we're going to accomplish different tasks and take care of different crises that are happening within the colony, and that is Dead of Winter, a Crossroads game. And the Crossroads cards is one of the things that I really enjoyed about it. Added a story element to the game that really just kind of made it have a very cinematic feel. A lot of people have saying that it's just a little bit too far on the long side, and while I can see that, it just doesn't bother me that much, because usually when I play the game, I'm so enveloped in the story and in the arc of the storyline that is being produced, that is different with every game. Oh man, I just really enjoy Dead of Winter from Plaid Games, and my number 1 zombie game. That's it. That's my list. So now You are tasked with giving me your comments down below. Tell me how you disagree with me, all that good stuff. But until next time, you've been watching Sam Healey, Top 5. See you on the flip side.